Most people are letting AI destroying their ability to think, training AI to become their own replacement. And it is tragic because AI can make you dangerously intelligent. I went from an Urdu medium school to a UK top university grad and running and advertising AI and e-commerce companies worth fortune. And here's what I have learned. The top 1% use AI backward. They don't prompt to get answers. They use it to train their brain and outsmart almost any situation. So in this video, I will break down counterintuitive system the top 1% use to get smarter faster with AI. So here is a 4-step framework. Step 1, intelligent laziness. A study in Harvard Business Review found that CEOs waste 72% of their time in the meetings that don't move the needle. We have all experienced those meetings, haven't we? The 1-hour meeting that needed only 15 minutes to get to a decision, but it is hard to stop. So why do some of the most accomplished folks feel trapped this way? Because we all suffer from this biological glitch called completion bias. Your brain is wired to seek an immediate dopamine hit that you get from finishing a task. So we end up treating all tasks as equal because we are going to get roughly the same amount of dopamine when you spend time on redrafting an internal email or a $1 million strategy document. Everything is priority, so none of it is. So how do you avoid this priority blindness? A good way to think about tasks is to see 2 curves. First curve has capped payoffs. This curve goes up and then flattens out once it reaches the zone of diminishing return. So tasks like formatting slides or internal emails, expenses record, FYI meetings. What happens if you spend additional effort to make the outcome of these tasks pitch perfect? Nothing. There's an upside here because the value flatlines after a point. Nobody cares if you spend hours choosing better fonts or breathtaking designs in internal slides that are seen for 6 minutes only. These curves show you your zone of intelligent laziness. There was a Nobel Prize winning economist and a computer scientist, and his name was Herbert Simon, and he came up with a concept called satisficing, which pretty much means stop when it is good enough. Now our second curve is the exact opposite. It has uncapped payoff. This curve flat for a long time but then goes to the moon in a hurry. These are tasks like customers interaction, product design, pricing model, finding a co-founder, or maybe a life partner. Being 1% better here does not yield 1% better result. It actually solves the results of 99% of your problems. Pour your soul into this. Johnny Ive would obsess for many months on even the internal component design of iPhones. But Steve Jobs never said, hey, this is costing us a lot of money and who's going to pay? Open the iPhone. But Steve knew this was the second curve. So if the first curve is your zone of laziness, your second curve is your zone of obsession. Let's talk about how AI can help in this area. The top 1% use AI on zone 1 or the zone of laziness. The more they outsource zone 1 to AI, the more they can focus on zone 2, the zone of obsession. So how do I decide what to outsource to AI and when? So for that, I use a very simple framework called DRAG framework, D-R-A-G. For categories of work, you immediately should delegate to AI so you can stay in your zone of obsession. First, D equals drafting. This is the blank page problem we all face. It's hardest to get from 0 to 1. Sometimes AI can help here tremendously. Give it a prompt using the AIM protocol that I have shared before. Hey AI, act in this role, use this input, and this is your mission aim. And that way you get started very quickly on that email or code or presentation. And the first draft from AI will be creepy, atrocious, but that is fine. Now you have a starting point. You are not starting at a blank page. Now it will trigger something in your brain. You are off to the race. R equals research. This helps you solve the information overloaded problem. Today, if something requires a deep research, it can be dramatically accelerated using AI, summarization, extractions, competitive intel, you know all. Don't spend time doing that kind of research. Let your friendly neighborhood AI to do it for you. When you use the deep research feature on ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, it fires off hundreds of seconds searches queries. It goes out to the web like a spider and finds hundreds of sites, consolidates the results, even check his own work by asking what is missing and follow up on its own to finally deliver a rich document to you. It's like you just hired a consultant for a week-long research project, but instead you get there in 10 minutes. Third is A for analysis. Let AI take the first pass at analyzing, summarizing, reasoning, especially if it is all unstructured data, because AI is going to find patterns that we human are not going to do or not going to able to do. So use it for your advantage. And finally, G is for all the groundwork. Tasks like reformatting, translating, tabulating, cleaning data, and on, boring manual work. Just give it to AI. So what's the key principle behind drag? Apply it only when you are in zone 1, the first curve. If it requires human interaction or judgment or intuition or decision making or taste, that is curve 2. That's you have to do it yourself. But I found that the 70 or 80% of my repetitive tasks tend to be in zone 1, and you might find that too. So be lazy when you can use drag. Be obsessed for everything else. Step 2. The intelligent hill. For 300 years, Isaac Newton convinced us that the universe was a clockwork machine, predictable and certain. But in 1927, another scientist named Heisenberg shattered those classical beliefs. He showed that our universe exists only as a cloud of possibilities at a quantum level. It was a profound shift. You and I have to make a similar shift when we use AI nowadays. The first trick is to stop treating AI like a calculator. We like to live in a world with clear rules. You type 2 plus 2 into a calculator and you get 4 always. It is predictable, but AI is not a calculator. It is a probability engine. If you ask the same question to AI again, it will give you a completely different answer. It will happily make things up for you unless you ask it to verify. AI is brilliant on some days, confused on other days, but on any given day, it refuses to admit that it doesn't know the answer. It loves to make things up. So you don't just ask AI the way you ask a normal human being. You have to create your questions very carefully. Now, most people use a tactic called zero-shot prompting. So for example, they would ask, give me the best new business idea, and of course, AI will dish out a response and tell you why it is the greatest idea in the world. But you are literally rolling the dice and looking to win. To get elite results, you must climb the intelligent hill. There are 4 camps on the way. Each camp will show you a different way to work with AI. Our first camp is called one-shot prompting. When you prompt, give one clear example so the model does not guess blindly. So the prompt would look like, write a LinkedIn post about a remote work, use this specific post as a style guide, and so give it a post. Give it an example and paste that post in a prompt as a reference. And that simple act is already an upgrade than rolling the dice blindly. Second camp, few shot prompting. Now here you give AI 3 or more examples so it can find patterns of styles and substance and tone that you desire. Attach document, links, data, or your prior work. This is called grounding the model. So basically it stops fantasizing and hallucinating and gets grounded to reality. Here's an example of a prompt. Here are the 5 of my previous presentation, and now write a new presentation based on my tone of voice on topic XYZ. And here's the pro tip. Ask the AI to explain the pattern back to you first. That way, AI is forced to articulate what it is doing. And more importantly, you are forced to learn how your brain works. How did it come up with those patterns? Now you are being smart about being smart. Now let's move to the third camp. The one is called chain of thought reasoning. I know, again, it's a fancy name, but the idea is simple. Ask the model to think long and hard before it responds. Your job is to slow AI down and force explicit clarity by asking it to show its work. That's all there is. This is also a good way to reduce hallucination, of course. So let's say you are working on some reports and so you attach it and write a prompt that could look like this. Do not refine my research report yet. List the top 3 most impactful areas of improvement. After we analyze it, tell me why you think so and suggest how we address each. Think step by step. Show me your thinking for each step. That last line is the most important one. And our fourth and final camp is agent. According to the Salesforce, AI agents helped drive 67 billion in global sales during Cyber Week alone. So agents are already there. The best way to think about agent is to think about who you would hire for a task. So let's say if you wanted to hire a researcher, an analyst, and a copywriter, you can do that with a single agentic prompt that looks like this. Do deep research on trends on topic XYZ. Analyze and cross-reference all the trends to find the 3 most important ones and draft a 1-page memo summarizing the findings. Now, what is actionable? Try this framework tonight. Open your favorite AI app and take any prompt that you were about to use. Just try to get the next camp. That's how you start climbing up the intelligent hill. Remember, when you were dealing with a drunk genius, make sure you were the one driving the car. So now at this point, everything we have done has made you fast and efficient. You are delegating better, you are prompting smarter, you are moving up the hill, and there is less friction than before. And that's exactly where most people would stop. But here's the plot twist. The top 1% go one step further. They slow things down deliberately. Why is that important? The trick that top 1% know is this. They know when to shift the gear because long-term intelligence is not built through convenience. It is built through resistance. And that's why we need to go to step 3, the intelligent gym. Most people use AI as a wheelchair for the mind. And if you sit in a wheelchair when you can still walk, eventually your legs stop working. Atrophy. And today it is happening faster than at any point in human history. But the top 1% use a very different principle. For information tasks, use AI to remove friction. For transformation tasks, use AI to add friction. When you go to a physical gym, we all know that muscles are built, right, through resistance. You lift increasingly heavier weights to introduce wear and tear to your muscles fibers, so they break and they grow back stronger. That is called progressive overload. But when it comes to our mind, we do the exact opposite somehow. We avoid resistance. We use AI to outsource our thinking. Write my LinkedIn post, fix my resume, summarize this book. That's like going to the gym and asking someone else to lift weights on your behalf. When astronauts spend months in zero gravity, their muscles and bones atrophy dramatically, up to 20%. AI is like a zero gravity for your thinking. No friction, no load, no growth. The intelligent gym is not about information. It is about transformation. 4 things where you need to be smart and capable. You can think of AI as your spotter. In any gym, a spotter does not lift the weight for you. They stand next to you and help you lift. They also make sure that you do not get crushed when you're lifting the weight. So do the same with AI. Here's a concrete example. If you want to learn a concept, study it first yourself. Then go to your spotter, your AI. Paste the concept, text, and then prompt AI. I need to master this concept. Quiz me on it. And now comes the most important part of your intelligent gym. Ask AI to apply progressive overload. 4 levels. Level 1, quiz me like I'm a high school student. Level 2, ask me question like I'm a college student. Level 3, now grill me like you are interviewing me for an executive job. And level 4, now challenge me like an irate boss who thinks I'm unprepared. So that truly strengthen and deepen your understanding on that concept. So now we have covered 3 key steps to learn how the top 1% becomes smarter by using AI. But there is one internal adjustment that changes everything, and that is our final step. Step number 4, the intelligent fool. The biggest obstacles to intelligence is not ignorance, it is ego. That's why the smartest people are obsessed with what they don't know. And this is what I call the fool's advantage. Let me give you an example. Microsoft went from 300 billion to 3 trillion market cap with just one mental cultural shift. When Satya Nadella became the CEO of Microsoft in 2014, they had missed 2 huge disruptions: search and mobile. The cloud race was ongoing, but it was slipping away from their hand. With Amazon becoming the 800-pound gorilla and the culture inside the company was toxic, political, and everyone was terrified to admit that there were gaps in their knowledge. Satya made one cultural move. He told the entire company, we are switching from a culture of know it all to learn it all. Complete reboot of Microsoft culture. The smartest people in the room were finally given permission to say, I don't know, or I was wrong, and to embrace the beginner's mind. Now, Wall Street was skeptical at first, but the market cap eventually went from 300 billion to over 3 trillion, and it keep growing. 10x growth in 1 decade. And here's why this matters. Neuroscience tells us that our brain can rewire all the time. It's called neuroplasticity. This rewiring happens only at the edge of your ability. It happens when you are making errors. It happens when you are frustrated, when you are feeling that discomfort. And if you are not feeling stupid, you are not learning. Aren't you glad that AI has just handed you the ultimate training ground to be a student again? You can bring your beginner's mind to AI all day long. Ask questions you would never ask your colleague out of a fear of embarrassment. AI does not roll its eyes. Pick one thing that you don't understand in your field, something that everyone else thinks you know, but you know you don't. And then ask AI the most basic questions about the topic that you can think of. And then ask, can you explain it to me in a simpler way? Teach me like I'm a 10-year-old. Ask 3 questions all the time. In fact, I ask 3 times in a row to simplify again and again. And sure, I guarantee you, you will feel ridiculous at first. I do all the time, but that's the whole point. Have the courage to play the fool today so you can be the genius tomorrow. The trick to mastery is going back to the simplicity itself. If you examine some of the greatest masters across the human history, you will see one consistent pattern. Every master is a student for life, and you cannot be genuine student if you are hiding behind a mask of mastery. The biggest benefit of intelligence is not the end of ignorance. It's the end of pretending. We are surrounded by endless images of flawless people in their flawless poses, flawlessly photoshopped. But in the end, all art is about asymmetry. We are beautiful because we are broken. Because the real purpose of intelligence of this thing is called life, is to travel far and wide only to return yourself and fully accept who you are. That is your truest intelligence. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to use AI to start a business, I have another videos on my channel. Thank you so much, and I love you.